What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. So, as you know from the following week, I had a couple of live streams. I talked about a couple of stocks like AMC, like GME, like GameStop, like Nokia, like Blackberry. There were a number of positions that people wanted to get into. Obviously, the buyers were looking to drive up the price for these billionaire investors that are shorting all of these stocks. And it makes sense because if they're shorting it, they have to buy it back, which drives up the price again. And basically, they're losing a bunch of money. And it's not really just about them losing money, it's also about people making money. So I wanted to talk to you about what I did during the week and what my profits were. I still hold the stock, but I just decided to get in and get out and then get in again. And just because my day trading mind always goes to that. When I see it fall away from the trend, I'm looking to basically do that bounce back method. And I want to get into what the stock looks like and what's actually happening in the post market after trading and what we can expect over the weekend. So before we get started on this, make sure you hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button for more videos like this one. And make sure that you get your free stocks with Webull down below. Also check out some of the other links. And this is your time really to get into other brokerage accounts. This is what I 100% recommend. There are other brokerage accounts. There's a Webull link down below if you want to sign up for Webull. That's another brokerage account that you can have outside of Robinhood. Robinhood is limiting trades. Obviously, Webull was doing it as well. You had interactive brokers that were doing it. There were so many different platforms that did it. And you need to have the ability to be able to trade. And this is why I have Fidelity. You know, Fidelity gives me that option to be able to trade whenever I really want to. And if they got to a point to where they limited trades, then I know there would have been a serious problem. So that's what I want to make clear is if you have the time, if you have the ability to transfer money to other accounts just so you have the ability to buy these shares. Because I have shares in Webull, I have shares in Fidelity. I would have bought shares in Robinhood, but I only have like $10 in there because I really don't care about Robinhood that much. I like their user face, but everything else kind of sucks. Anyways, let's get into the detail here, the reason why we're going through this here. So I wanted to just talk about two specifically, the main culprits when it comes to growing at an exponential rate. GME, GameStop, and also AMC. I wanted to talk about these two because these two are the ones that are getting the most volume put into them. Other ones, yes, they're still growing at a pretty good rate, but they're not getting as much volume put into them. So let's go through GME first, just to see exactly what they did. In the open, you can see that it had that skyrocket moment to where it jumped up to basically 370, right? So then you started to go through it and it just didn't make sense looking at the trend line. And I didn't see anything if it was going to pull back because the trend line was all the way down here. So it has to pull back to this trend line if that's the case, or the trend line has to come up to it. And look, the trend line came up to where it is, which is really good. If it came down to the trend line, which it looked like that was the trajectory, I was getting a little bit scared there, but I was also getting antsy because I thought I would be able to invest as it gets lower. I don't want to invest in something that's $300+ I will stick with AMC and some of the lower end ones, even though these grow at a higher rate. But you can see that it was pretty steady throughout the whole entire thing. I mean, you obviously see ups and downs, peaks and valleys here, but it's not a true peak and valley. It's like more of a like trenches, basically. So, you know, you see these really falling in line with the trend line. You really didn't see anything until you saw this right here. This jump up right here made me think that it was premature. And I knew that it was going to come back a little bit. I wasn't really following this 100% closely. I was looking at it, but I wasn't following it too closely. But you can see that it just flows on the trend line. And it's not something that steers away from the trend line. Here you could have bought and it would have came back up. Then you could have done it again. It had a couple of dips. But then it started to rise as it got towards the end of the day, which is a little unheard of, in my opinion. Is something that it doesn't happen. It doesn't climb that much at the end of the day. Obviously, people wanted to get in it, and they were hoping to get a lot during the weekend, which if I look at the post market, it doesn't look like it's actually doing too much after the post market. It's still going that same direction, but it's not doing too much after that. But that was pretty much it. It didn't have anything that strayed from the truth with GameStop, but you did have some peaks, you did have some valleys when it came towards the end of the day. You see this large valley here, and then you have these little ridges, if for lack of a better term. Um, but yeah, pretty much followed the SMA here, and this is a 20 simple moving average. It pretty much followed that, and it was up. It ended at up 67%, $131. It was down to quite a bit in previous close, but yeah, I mean, it ended at a good point. Let's hope that the weekend does well for this. I'll get into what are my predictions after I go through AMC. Now, AMC, on the other hand, you can see that it still follows the trend line, but you see how far off, how volatile it actually is here. You see this large jump right from the beginning of the day. Large jump, right? Come down, up, all the way down, up, all the way down. Like this is the only like consistent part you can really see of it, but you have these huge peaks, these huge valleys, and that's really what you want to see. And once I seen the first peak and valley, I was like, oh, okay, it's going to be this type of day. So I pretty much doubled down when it came to Webull. I invested in Webull around this $12 mark. So I have 45 shares over there. And then I did end up selling somewhere around the $13 mark. I sold all my shares, actually the $14 mark, $14.50. I sold around the $14 mark just because, and I'm not completely selling, right? I sold out, and then I'm looking for it to bounce back, which it did. So I sold to capture some sort of profit because my cost basis was around $14 and like 70 cents or so. So I made like $300 from it. I think it jumped up to, it might have been over 15 when I sold. I can't really remember, but all I know is I made $300 from it. And I seen that it looked like it was going to bounce back, right? Because of this SMA, just didn't make sense to me. So I knew that it was going to bounce back in the way that it was flowing. So it ended up doing that, ended up really bouncing back. I got in again at $12.50. And then I also got in, I got in again at $13.50, and then I also got in again at $12.50. And I was looking to get in at below like this. I was trying to get into $11.50, but I can't remember if it actually hit there. The low today, no, it was $11.60. So I had the limit order out for $11.50, but it didn't get filled because it only hit $11.60. So I was a little upset about that because I had an order filled I would have had an order filled for 200 more shares, which would have given me a lot more profit as I got up here, which probably would have given me more of an incentive to sell and not hold on to it during the weekend. But obviously it went back down from here. If it got up to 18, I probably would have sold a portion of it just to collect profits, and then everything else in there would have been good. But I still hold on to it as the close happened. And after the close, you can see, this is after 4 o'clock. After the close, it dropped down a little bit, but it is starting to pick up. And as I see on my chart, it picked up to about that moment, and then it started to taper off. So my prediction for these two stocks during the weekend, it looks like it's going to be more of the same. I believe that they're going to continue to grow at an exponential rate, not at the rate as if the market was open, but I just hope that they allow more trading. And if you are a person that does trade on all of these platforms that limited you, you need to find a way to get to one of these platforms that don't limit you so you have the option to trade, because this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to silence you, right? And if they do silence you, then they win. So if you hold shares in GameStop, in AMC, whether it's on margin or whatever it actually is, we need to find a way to get you to be able to buy more if you wanted to buy more. So my prediction for the weekend is that it's gonna go up, and it's going to steadily go up. It's not going to be a crazy increase. It looks like it's kind of insane right now. After this post market, I think we might end somewhere around the 15 mark. And I said that during my live stream that we might end at like 15. But I'm not 100% sure if it's going to grow any more than that during the pre-market. I think it's going to rise at first like it always does, and it's going to drop. And I kind of hope that it does drop, because what they're doing is they're trying to scare investors. So Wall Street is trying to scare us. So they're just going to basically buy and sell the stock and bring the stock price down. And if they do, they bring it down to $8 or so, I'm buying into that, because I know that it's going to increase. It's going to create so much traction over the next week. So many people missed out on opportunities. So if they can get in at a low point, they're going to get in there. and they're going to continue to buy and drive that price up. And that's what I predict will happen with AMC. Another thing that can happen is just like how we finish low in the pre-market, we could suddenly see that it's low and then the stock price skyrockets, and then people start to sell off again because they see that it recovered. And that's what I don't want to see, because when people see the recovery, they get scared that it will never get back to that point again, right? And if they get scared, they sell. And when they sell, other people sell and other people sell. It's like a train or like a domino effect. So all in all, this week was amazing. If I looked at it, I didn't even try and trade multiple days. I literally just held. And then the last day I decided to do my day trading method, which I should have probably continued to do this throughout the whole entire week. It would have been phenomenal. But I made $391. I finished with an unrealized gain of $304, and obviously a realized gain of $391. What would have been amazing is if I would have gotten in at that 650 mark throughout the week. I knew that I needed to get in there, but I decided to continue to work rather than invest in the stock market, which sucks, because if I did invest at that point, I was going to invest at the lowest point, the lowest low. I was going to invest like $10,000, $20,000. If I would have invested $10,000 or $20,000, I literally would have doubled or tripled the money that I had in the account in one day. Now, just take this all with a grain of salt, because I know it's exciting. I know a bunch of new people are getting interested in the stock market, and you may be seeing gains, but don't get hit by that adrenaline and think that you're invincible, because it's not that way. You know, you can lose money just as well as you're gaining money. The only reason that a bunch of people are gaining money so much is because people are buying this up. If they didn't limit the amount that we can buy, it would have been just like GameStop. Because the way GameStop grew, I knew that I missed out, because I held a ton of shares before. I had them at $5 and I sold because I didn't believe they were going to increase at that moment. And I was using my day trading mind rather than my long-term mind. So that's just my fault. But again, take this with a grain of salt. I'm not a financial advisor, even though I do have experience, I have degrees and all of that. I still don't want to be the reason why you may have lost money or why you got into a certain stock. If you feel as though it's a good opportunity for you, get into it, but understand, go in there with a plan. Where's your exit strategy? Where's the portion to where you will exit maybe a couple of your shares or a portion of your shares just to get the profits? Make sure you know that. But that's my video, guys. Hopefully next week goes well. I'm going to be uploading this on Saturday. I'm recording this on Friday, but I'm going to upload this on Saturday. Hopefully the weekend goes well, and I'll continue to update people on my story. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to get out of here. I'll catch you guys in the next video, and maybe I'll have a live stream on Monday.